All right, Nuggets fans, welcome into Pickaxe and Roll, brought to you by good friends here at Mile High Sports and FanDuel. I am your host, Ryan Blackburn at NBA Blackburn on Twitter, part of the Mile High Sports Podcast Network. And I am here. I am ready. I'm excited to kick off the week for this Denver Nuggets week on Pickaxe and Roll here. Very excited, as always, to bring you guys the numbers, the takes, the perspective, and whatever I can bring to sort of adjust things around for you. I didn't mention this yesterday on the show. Had a variety of people approach me at the arena on Saturday, just whether it was for Pickaxe or for Locked On or for just all the writing and stuff we do. So thank you so much for being kind. If you ever see me at the arena, don't ever hesitate to come up. Always appreciate the love and just being able to commiserate. We could talk about the game for a little bit. That's it's no problem with me. On today's episode, we are going to debut a new Monday segment that will happen every single Monday here at Pickaxe and Roll. 3 and 3. That'll be 3 things that I saw last week and 3 things that I hope to see this upcoming week. We'll focus in on a couple of things there, including just Aaron Gordon, Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, and some stuff with the bench as well. And then, I forgot to adjust that last bullet point here, but we're going to do a T-Wolves preview as well. The Nuggets play the Minnesota Timberwolves tonight, and they play on Peacock. That should be interesting. Make sure that you have your Peacock subscriptions or ways to get the game ready for folks, because that is a new adjustment that everybody's going to have to make for this upcoming season. Okay, let's focus in. 3 and 3, 3 things from last week, 3 things for this upcoming week. The first thing that we got to talk about, Aaron Gordon, his explosion, both as an athletic individual and as a shot-taking and shot-making individual. 2 different games, 2 different ways that he put on a show last week. First of all, it's hard to fake 50 points. There's very few players in the NBA that can get to 50, and Aaron Gordon did it on the very first night of the Nuggets season. He did it in a way where Golden State has this way of guarding him by not guarding him. They decided, we're going to dare you to shoot at various points. This wasn't a 10 feet wide open kind of thing. This was Aaron Gordon is the one that we have to leave because we are double teaming Nikola Jokic, because we are collapsing on the paint. There are other actions that we really have to focus on. Aaron Gordon is the one they're going to leave. Lo and behold, it was a horrible decision. Golden State, they did get away with it in the end, obviously, but I just think that every team is now going to look at that game and look at what Aaron Gordon is putting on tape from a shot-making, shot-taking, and versatility perspective and saying, hey, this dude is not just a dunker anymore. He is not just somebody who hangs out inside the arc and finishes lobs and things like that, though he did that too. Denver is so fortunate to have Aaron Gordon and what he can provide on a consistent basis. The versatility that he shows, that he brings, is such a big deal. And it's not a surprise to me that he got off to a great start, because the way that everything else has sort of there are so many questions, so many different ways to approach the starters, approach the bench. Aaron Gordon is just steady as always, and he brings that mode into the season, and just looks good. He also just looks healthy. That's the thing that really stands out to me when watching him. It is not just about the shots. It is about his movement ability. He's getting down into a stance, making plays defensively, and making good rotations, grabbing some rebounds every now and then. Dude's just on fire right now to start the year. And I'm looking forward to seeing if it continues, how long it continues. But this last week was definitely highlighted by Aaron Gordon's ability. 42 Ultra asks, AG the most complete player ever? Well, I unfortunately jinxed him on Saturday night when I called him the best shooter of all time in the first quarter of that game because he wouldn't miss. He was making all of the jumpers and swishing everything, and then he stopped making them after I said that. So I'm gonna say he's the worst shooter ever. There's no way he bounces back. But I think he'll be very good for the majority of this season. Number two, from last week, Jamal looks healthy and in control. This is the main takeaway. If you're the Nuggets, if you're trying to figure out, okay, what are the swing factors to begin the season? Jamal being great is a really big one because he's somebody that everybody obviously knows, and he even knows, he acknowledged it on this last Saturday, the narrative around him that he starts slow. It's not just a narrative. The stats actually back it up. And it's something that I've looked at and talked about over in previous years. It happens every time. And mostly it is because it's not necessarily because of anything, but just I don't know if Jamal's approach has ever been this good to start the season, where he is so very clearly focused on what he's supposed to do, how he can help the team win, what are the different mechanisms and ways that he can deliver on that. And while I do think the 3-point shooting is still, there's still some shakiness to it to start the year. He did get some to go. He hit a 3/4 court shot. That was one of the threes that he made. But outside of that, he was 2 for 7 in the game on Saturday. He was 1 for 4 in the game on Thursday. So I'll think about that as a potential point of improvement. And I would like to see him rattle off some made threes. Do I think he's a bad 3-point shooter at the beginning of the year again? No, I just think that we need a little bit more time to figure out what he's doing. But inside the arc, he's been amazing. He has been awesome in terms of navigating traffic, setting the table for others, whether it's for Valanciunas or Jokic or getting the ball to Aaron Gordon or setting the table for somebody else. It has been really impressive to watch Jamal navigate within the lane. He has been attacking the lane pretty consistently. He is drawing a lot of contact and not necessarily drawing as many free throws as you would hope, like especially for the physical nature of the drives that he's putting together, but he looks healthy. He looks in control. This is the best we've seen Jamal at the beginning of a season, and I'm just waiting for the points explosion. Like, he's been very steady to start the year. And like, if you're a Nuggets fan, you're probably more focused on his steadiness than you are his explosion, just because like you want to make sure that you're not getting the 18 points on 7 of 19 games. You want to make sure you're getting your, like, it's nice to get the 30-point game every now and then, but if it is accompanied by the other ones where he's just kind of subpar and not necessarily helping that much, then that's a little bit different. He's helping every single time he's out there on the floor. And whether it's with the starters, with the bench, he has been a good leader for the team. And that's really exciting to see. One other thing that I saw last week, and this is not just a Nuggets thing, this is a national thing too. Free throws. Free throws are a big deal. They're a big deal right now in the NBA. I don't know if you guys saw last night. Austin Reeves had 51 points. He had 22 free throws en route to that. A couple of days before, Luka Doncic played a great game. He had 19 free throws for the Lakers en route to 49 points. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in one of the opening games, I think it was on Thursday before Denver's season opener, he had 55 points on 26 free throws. It's a lot of free throws. It is a lot of free throws for stars. And Adam Aris, who a good friend and somebody who I like and respect, pointed out that like the actual number of games where there are 15 plus free throws for any single individual, he said that I think that there were 67 games all of last year where a player had that number of free throws, and that this year there are already 11 such opportunities. Like Benedict Matherin's getting 18 free throws. There's a lot of guys that are just generating the free throw looks. And I'm not surprised because, like, for Denver, like, they benefited from free throws on Saturday night, right? They got to the line 42 times and made 38 of them. And it makes the game super simple and super easy when you are making a whole bunch of free throws and slowing the game down and not necessarily allowing the other team to go on a fast break. Like, I'm looking at the stat for last year when the Nuggets attempted 30 plus free throws as a team last year. I believe they were like 11-1, 12-1, like somewhere in that general range. It is the easiest way to win the game. The easiest way is just to get to the free throw line, to slow down the game, and put yourself into a position where you're getting the easiest shots possible. It sucks, but it's something that I've noticed, and it's something that I'm going to be keeping my eye on going forward. The game that Denver lost, they only shot 14 and Golden State shot 25. And then Denver shot 42 and far outpaced what Phoenix put together on Saturday, and they won the game. So it's not just going to be, hey, if Denver wins the free throw differential, they're going to win the game. But it does kind of give them a helpful advantage in those situations. And it does kind of give a lot of these other teams and players a massive advantage to be putting up these major totals and to win games by going through the easiest route possible. And I know for a lot of people that sucks. That's not necessarily what they want to hear, but it is what's happening right now to start the NBA. So I hope that the refs kind of get this back under control. I think that it would be nice to not have to think about free throws that much, but right now, while the league is dealing with this, Denver should as well. Denver should take advantage of this. It should be something that they try to do in order to win basketball games. It's not necessarily something I feel great about, but it is the nature of the thing. Okay. I'm going to do one of the things for this week that I want to focus on, and then we'll take a break. We'll do a couple of other after that. The first thing I think, so again, this segment is 3 things from last week, 3 things from this week. The first thing I want to see for this week is continued progress for Cam Johnson. Getting him up to speed and putting him in a place where he is comfortable navigating is the most important thing for the Nuggets beyond winning for this upcoming week here. They face the T-Wolves, the Pelicans, and the Blazers. There are some tough matchups in that stretch. The T-Wolves, he will probably have Jaden McDaniels guarding him. I would guess that Dante DiVincenzo and Jalen Clark guard Murray for much of the game, but Jaden McDaniels will probably guard Cam Johnson for the vast majority of that game. Herb Jones will probably guard, if he's I think he's starting for the Pelicans. He'll probably guard Jamal Murray, which means that Trey Murphy III will guard Cam Johnson. For the Blazers, Drew Holiday will probably guard Jamal Murray, but they might switch that and put Tumani Camara on him, in which case the other one will guard Cam Johnson. Those are some tough matchups. Those are definitely length, athleticism, physicality, very smart, high IQ defenders. And I do think that Cam, as he continues to get more integrated into what the Nuggets are trying to do, he's going to have to face a lot of those matchups because Aaron Gordon's going to deal with the guy who's a little bit more physical and definitely bigger a lot of the time. Christian Brown, he'll deal with probably the weakest matchup on a consistent basis. Jokic is obviously going to deal with everybody. But for Cam Johnson, as he continues to really try to establish himself in what he's hoping to accomplish with this Nuggets team, the opportunities are going to be there. Denver's got to keep building in those opportunities. It's about Cam Johnson learning how to feel them out and take them within the flow of the offense, within the flow of everything. It does seem like from game 1 to game 2, he made a little bit of progress. The most important thing that you can do as a player during an 82 game season. Um, Actually, look, I haven't played at the NBA level, so I'm not going to sit here and say that's the most important thing. But from my football experience, one thing that you can continue to do is just try to build upon every single week, build upon every single thing that you do on a consistent basis. And for Cam, he started to figure some things out in the DHO with Jokic, in the DHO with and pick and roll with some guys. I think that he can continue to do that. That would be one thing I'd like to see him continue to learn. And then finding ways to spray the ball out to other players, like drawing attention, and then not just settling for a mid range jumper or trying to go through contact and get all the way to the lane. It's about reading the floor, seeing if you can figure it out. I'd like to see him have a game where he finishes with like 4 or more assists, because to me, that means that he is moving the ball in the correct way, and the Nuggets are taking advantage of his playmaking opportunity. So we'll see whether he can. It's going to be interesting. I do think that guys like Jokic are going to have to hit the threes because most of the time that would be the shot that he would that would generate from an assist perspective. And then the other guys, they got to trust that Cam's going to be able to find them on cuts. Like whether it's Jamal Murray cutting back door, probably not, but it's mostly going to be Christian Brown, Aaron Gordon cutting back door. I think that there's plenty of opportunities for those guys to make his life a little bit easier. But they also need to know exactly what he's going to do and trust that he's going to be able to do it. And so that comes with time. There's going to be plenty of time throughout the season, but I'd like to see them take some steps forward in that regard this week. Okay, let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to do another couple of things that I'm looking forward to this week, and then we will preview the game against the Minnesota Timberwolves. We'll be right back here on Pickaxe and Roll. This podcast is brought to you by Delete Me. Delete Me makes it easy, quick, and safe to remove your personal data online at a time when surveillance and data breaches are common enough to make everyone feel vulnerable. Data brokers, they profit off of your data. It's a commodity. Anyone on the web can buy your private details. This can lead to identity theft, phishing attempts, and harassment. Have you ever been the victim of identity theft, harassment, doxing? If you haven't, you probably know someone who has. Delete Me can help. Take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me. Now at a special discount for our listeners. Get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you go to deleteme.com/hit and use promo code HIT at checkout. The only way to get 20% off is to go to joindeleteme.com/HIT and enter code HIT at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/HIT, code HIT. All right, we're back. Pickaxe and Roll. Thank you so much for tuning into the show, folks. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Would really, really appreciate it. I got Jeff Morton is in the house. I just came in to say good luck. We're all counting on you. That is one of my favorite movies of all time, Airplane, for those that don't know, and something that Jeff and I have talked about before. I think we talked about on the podcast that we did right before the season started, which was basically hey, let's not focus on basketball that much. And I always appreciate doing that show. So good to see you, Jeff. By the way, FanDuel today is running their Sports Equinox Day. That is a fun promo that they are doing because Sports Equinox Day is all four major sports are being played today, and it's very rare when that happens, but it does seem like a fun opportunity to get in and see what's going on. You've got a World Series game, you've got a couple hockey games, you got the Monday Night Football game, and then the Nuggets are playing later, as well as I think like 8 other games. Like there's a lot of NBA games on the calendar for today. So fun schedule, to be clear. A couple more things for this week that I would like to see. The first, and actually they're both center related. The first is more minutes for Jonas Valanciunas. Denver had an opportunity, I think, in this last game to play a little bit more minutes with Valanciunas out there. They didn't do it well. They gave up too many open threes. Part of that is because of Valanciunas himself. But part of that is just like they're still learning how to play as a team. And as a result, things didn't work out and they had to get the starters back in. And then the starters blew it wide open. And so they went to the third stringers at the very end of the game. But so far, Valanciunas has averaged 12 and a half minutes. Jokic has averaged 36 and a half. Part of that is because obviously they played an overtime period, and Jokic played that entire time. He played 41 minutes or so in that game, then played a more normal, like 32 in this last game on Saturday. I hope that he continues to get into that 32 range and that Valanciunas can get up to about 16. I think that that would be extremely beneficial for the Nuggets, both like in a couple of different ways. The first is that Jokic gets the rest that he needs. He doesn't have to consistently play extensive minutes. Last year, I think the stat was that Jokic played at least 35 minutes in 53 out of the 70 games that he suited up for. Like, that's not a lot of break time. It's just not. And there's so much burden that he had to carry, in part because the Denver Nuggets backup center situation was so bad. Now, like, Valanciunas is their guy. He's not perfect, and it shouldn't be considered that he is perfect. Like, he's got weaknesses, and he's even less mobile than Jokic. He's somebody that will struggle at times when people are attacking him defensively. But I do think that getting him more minutes is still the right call, even if you're not going to win those minutes extensively. It is the right way to get as comfortable as possible with that second unit and to play more combinations of players with Valanciunas on a consistent basis to see, hey, who's actually a good fit? In the first game, Aaron Gordon came back on the floor and was able to play next to Valanciunas for a couple of possessions. And I wonder if something like that could be more advantageous at various points. I know the rotation is basically right now, it is the five starters, and then Tim Hardaway comes in for Jamal Murray, and then you get another couple of bench guys coming in for a couple of starters, and then you get Jokic exiting, Valanciunas coming in, Jamal Murray coming back in, and the bench unit running four bench guys plus Jamal Murray. It's like Bruce Brown, Tim Hardaway Jr., Peyton Watson, Jonas Valanciunas, and then Jamal Murray leading the show. That's what it's going to be like for the vast majority of it. However, there are ways for like the Nuggets to like keep having Jokic get a little bit of a break and not necessarily feeling like he has to play the entire time. Now, in order to do that, you want to make sure that the minutes that Valanciunas is playing are valuable and the team is actually taking advantage of it. So hopeful that that Denver's able to make it happen, but we will see whether they can. Yeah, I would like to see the Aaron Gordon, Jonas Valanciunas duo, especially because AG is now shooting the ever-loving hell out of the ball. Like, might as well take advantage of the fact that he's a great floor spacer at this point. Teams are going to have to respect it. And there previously would be spacing concerns with a team that had DeAndre Jordan and Aaron Gordon on the floor. That's not the case anymore. Like, Aaron Gordon and Jonas Valanciunas should be dominant offensively, if only because like they're going to abuse the offensive glass too. So should be interesting. I'm curious to see what it looks like this upcoming week. But then the last thing for the three things I want to see this week, I want to see comfort with low usage for Jokic. And this is not necessarily a Nuggets thing. This is almost more of a Nuggets fans kind of thing. Jokic had, 14 points in this last game? It's fine. It's not a crazy thing. Jokic, by the way, on Saturday tied Russell Westbrook for the most 14 point, 14 rebound, 14 assist games since about 1975 with 20. Like, he has 20 of those such games. And let me tell you, man, like, I can't imagine they've lost a ever-loving too many out of those games. Like, there are so many opportunities where the Nuggets are playing this game, and you look up and you realize, okay, Joker's got 4 points. He's only taken 1 shot, or he's taken 4 shots, or he's taken 6 shots, or whatever it is. And it's not like a high number of shot attempts, but there's so many like the reason why that happens is because the offense is flowing. It's not because he's like sometime in previous years that would be a sign of a protest game from him. That would be a sign of, hey, he doesn't like something that happened. There are actively things that he is trying to make a point about. Now it's not that. It's literally him just saying, okay, I am the facilitator for this section. We are going to score. And they generated a great shot every single time down the floor. Nuggets fans just have to get more comfortable with the idea that Jokic is not going to score as many points. He doesn't have to. There's no reason for him to force it. And as the Nuggets are trying to learn and understand chemistry and getting everybody involved, I kind of think that it's the best thing for Denver. Get Cam Johnson more opportunities. Get Aaron Gordon more opportunities. Get Jamal Murray more opportunities. Get Christian Brown more comfortable handling the basketball. Like all of these things, and especially like when Jokic is staggering with the second, or not staggering, but like on the floor with the second unit guys. You want to see him set the table for Peyton Watson. You want to see him have DHOs with Tim Hardaway Jr. You want to see him do all of that. Like the best way for the Nuggets to get up to speed is to take the opportunities and to run with them. Jokic knows that. He very much knows that. And I think that this is a really good sign for Denver going forward that like, they do not have to win when they don't have to have Jokic score in order to win. That's what I mean. And I don't think it's a big deal that he is not shooting that much. I actually think that he shot too much in the game on Thursday against Golden State. So I'm looking forward to seeing whether like this is a normal thing for him going forward, especially in these kinds of matchups. Like maybe not Minnesota. Minnesota's one where he will probably have to score more points. But against the Pelicans, 20 points seems right. Against the Blazers, honestly, like 20 points seems right as long as he's setting the table and everybody else is doing pretty well. That one will be interesting, though, because you've got Donovan Clingan as the starting center there, and you've got Jan Hansen, who is the backup center. They will play some smaller lineups for sure, but they're going to struggle to play smaller lineups against the Nuggets. And so, yeah, if you're Jokic, if other things are not working, then yeah, push the button and go score in the lane. Like there's no question that can happen. But we've already seen him do that. I don't need to see him do that again in order to believe that it'll happen. Like I know there's a lot of folks that are concerned about being out of shape, whatever. I'm not concerned about that because it's eventually going to change. Like he will get into like the act of playing and getting into that flow on a consistent basis. He'll eventually get where he needs to go. I have very few concerns about Nikola Jokic. Okay. Finally, now as we get through, that was 3-3. In future segments, in future times, I will be a little bit more prompt on 3 things from last week, 3 things for this week, and we'll be trying to do that every single Monday. This one just happened to be like, hey, previewing for tonight's game as well, so a lot of stuff to be able to talk about. But yeah, I think there's a lot of things that we can get into, and I'm looking forward to seeing. If you guys want any other recurring segments, then let me know. We'll try to come up with some creative ways to get people in and around and interested in what we're doing. So, final thing, let's go over some odds on FanDuel for the Minnesota Timberwolves matchup tonight. The Nuggets, according to FanDuel, are they are 5.5 point favorites in this one. They have a money line of -220 against Minnesota. There is a built-in expectation, I think, with Minnesota, both on the second night of a back-to-back and with Anthony Edwards having missed, that the T-Wolves will probably not be at their utmost place that they could be very successful. But yeah, 5.5 is an interesting line. I think that Denver is it's going to be interesting. Obviously, Jokic and Gobert are going to go back and forth. Jaden McDaniels is still a tremendous defender. Dante DiVincenzo is somebody I think that's going to have a pretty big game in this one. The Nuggets are still struggling with those kinds of guys. Grayson Allen is a great example of it in this last game. Like, he can get free on a consistent basis, and DiVincenzo's even more athletic and has a quicker trigger than Grayson Allen somehow. So that'll be a thing. But yeah, Jaden McDaniels often gives Denver the business in those matchups, and so is Julius Randle. So I would be watching out for like a big Julius Randle game. Aaron Gordon, time for him to step up. But like Julius Randle also hunts mismatches and switches in transition and in the pick and roll. So I do think that there will be plenty of opportunities. He's going to be attacking guys like Christian Brown and Jamal Murray and Cam Johnson in smaller matchups. So we'll see what it looks like. But Denver does have the advantage if Anthony Edwards doesn't play. Now, will they take advantage of said advantage? We'll see. They have to execute. It's going to be all about kind of making up for those demons. Minnesota's won the last 6 regular season and playoff matchups. So it's not just an Anthony Edwards thing. This is very clearly going to be a thing until Denver wins this matchup. I do think that it matters. Worried, and so Mad Dog asks, worried. Are we worried about this matchup? I don't know. I think and I still think that this is the toughest matchup for the Nuggets. But without Anthony Edwards, in theory, this should be a matchup that the Nuggets are able to exploit. This should be a matchup that the Nuggets are able to figure out. But yeah, the T-Wolves have owned Denver for the past several times. And I think that it would be nice for them to just get it off of their shoulders a little bit, put together a win. Don't have to focus too much about what people are saying. It's just about, okay, hey, the monkey's off the back. You can now just go about your business and not have to think about a streak like that. But yeah, it's been 6 straight games, and the Nuggets have been good during that time. They've won 50 plus in each of those seasons. So like, this is just a matchup that Denver has really struggled with. So I don't know. We'll find out. We'll see. We will see what Denver brings together. But I don't know. If you guys don't know, Anthony Edwards, the reason why he's probably going to be out, it's not confirmed, but he left 3 minutes into yesterday's game with a hamstring injury, and expecting him to be able to turn that back around and play in this particular game would be pretty awful. Like, that would be, if you're the Nuggets, you're like, come on, man. Like, why you had to leave the previous game and just so you could play in this one. But knowing Denver's luck, that'll probably be what happens. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I do think that Denver is in a good position to win tonight. I'm not going to make a prediction. I think that, because you never know how the early season is going to go. It could be great. It could be terrible. I do think that Murray is in a good position to be successful. Gordon's going to have to match up with Julius Randle. The reason why Denver often loses against Minnesota is because they lose track of the 3-point line. And then the moment that they step out to the 3-point line on a defensive basis is the moment that Minnesota attacks the paint and crashes the glass. So Denver's got to be able to do both. They've got to be able to figure it out. Maybe the way that they do it is they just continue to dare Minnesota to shoot threes, and while they are protecting the paint. If they can at least cut off the paint and focus on the threes, Minnesota will probably take 50 threes tonight. But if they only make 18, Denver will live with that. So we'll see what happens, but I think that this will be an interesting matchup tonight on Peacock. Make sure that you have your Peacock subscriptions set up. All right. That is going to do it, folks, for this episode of Pickaxe and Roll, brought to you by good friends here at Mile High Sports and FanDuel. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. Always appreciate the love and support on the podcast as always. I will be back tomorrow morning. And like I said earlier, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday is the normal base schedule for the show. And that is what's going to happen this time around. Everybody have a great week. Looking forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll talk to you guys very soon.